This is power and purpose personified, walking towards justice, fighting for freedom. This is speaking now, empowering the next generation to know how to live with confidence and precision, to move with mastery and meaning. This is a spirit that is free, traveling one coast to the next, escaping the comforts of home. This is finding new friends and exploring the warrior within to destinations amazing, to destinations unknown. This is what it means to keep pounding, to cheer for the home team without hesitation. This is love and life, success and sacrifice. This is Yolanda Trotman, and this is The Conversation.
Yes, honey, we are back. Welcome to The Conversation. We are so very excited about being back for season 2. And as I told you all along, we were starting season 2 with what? A bang. So what we are talking about tonight is sex, and sex. Sex, y'all. Sex. The one thing that people don't want to talk about. But we should, because we have to talk about healthy intimacy. We have to talk about healthy relationships, all of that good stuff. Sure. So before we get started, the first thing that I absolutely need you to do, if you have not done so already, is go to the Combo Pod Show, and that is on Instagram, that is on Twitter, that is Facebook, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed to us on the YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe to us there at The Conversation with Yolanda Trotman. Definitely need you following us on all forms of social media. What I'm guessing, based on the questions that we received when I asked you all to submit questions, this is probably going to be a 2-part episode.
No problem.
And I am so incredibly excited because tonight's guest, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Todd Malloy. Can I do the honor of introducing you as literally the first African-American male certified sex therapist, yes, among other things, because you got a whole lot of letters after your name.
Thank you.
Right?
I've heard that.
It's a whole mess of letters. And so I was so excited because when you and I had an opportunity to have just a basic conversation about your practice and what you do, I was so fascinated just by your story.
Thank you.
Like how you became a sex therapist specifically, because there's so much stigma. Like, correct, you don't look like a sex therapist. Let's just put that out there. I mean, correct, you imagine, or at least what you've seen on television, I suppose, is
Dr. I don't look like Dr. Ruth.
Right. I'm not gonna put Dr. Ruth out there like that, but you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know, somebody white, let's put it out there.
That's true.
Older, maybe with some energy, but not with the ability to really connect with people across different races, if you will. Maybe that's a way of saying it. So of course, we're talking about sex, and when this song came out in, oh God, we're about to age ourselves. It wasn't the 90s. It would have been in the late 80s. Yeah, so when this song came out, it was such a big deal. Well, yeah, clearly 80s. You can look and see it was late 80s. But it was such a big deal that women specifically were talking openly about sex, but not in an explicit way. Certainly not in the way that we hear on in songs now and what we see in the media. Who is Todd Malloy? So I'm going to have you answer 2 basic questions. That's it. Okay. Because what I like to do is to talk about your story through pictures, and you sent me some. And I kind of picked the ones that I hope will allow me to tell your story about who you are. But I also want to talk about your journey. And I think it will kind of piggyback into some of this. But who are you? Like, give me 3 to 5 words. That's it.
Okay.
How would you describe yourself?
Eclectic, intense at times.
That's too many words. That intense at times. That's 4.
Eclectic, intense.
Okay.
Exciting.
That's 3.
And deep.
4. You don't want a 5th one? I'm gonna give you a freebie.
Learning.
Oh, learn it.
Learning.
Gotcha. Okay, and tell us about Inner Peace Counseling before we dig into.
Well, Inner Peace Counseling Center is my offering to the world, really.
Okay.
That gives people permission to be who they are on the inside. That doesn't always manifest openly.
Okay.
Whether it's relationally, personally, crossroads through sexual trauma, neglect, things of that nature.
Wow.
What I hope it is for those that participate is a provincial place where they can gain whatever healing, insight, and knowledge that they have, so that they can experience a life worth celebrating.
Right. And so, how long has Inner Peace been around?
Since 2011.
Really?
Yes.
And how long have you been, now did you start off doing counseling before you decided to transition to sex therapy, or was that a different
Well, that was kind of all one and the same.
Okay.
Actually, I was an engineer, a frustrated engineer.
Oh, we're going to get into all that good
Yeah, I
stuff.
was a frustrated engineer that
Okay.
really wanted to be a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, I always wanted
Okay, wait. We got to unpack that. Okay. Frustrated engineer.
Correct.
What type of engineering?
Mechanical.
Okay, now this is fascinating. So mechanical engineering,
Mm-hmm.
is that right brain or left brain? Very.
Oh, you're getting too deep for me.
No, I don't know. Is that right brain? I don't. Either way, but very technically
Right.
inclined.
Correct.
But your heart was in more of an empathetic
Very much
space.
So. Very much so.
How in the world did you manage that? I don't want to get too far ahead into it because I want to spend some time there. But how did you navigate that space? Or did you know then that your heart wasn't really in engineering?
Well, I always knew my heart wasn't in engineering. Actually, I graduated from engineering school and burst out into tears because I became successful at what I didn't want to do.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Where did you go to undergrad?
UNC Charlotte.
Yes, honey. 49ers. Woo, woo. Okay. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Providence, Rhode Island.
So how did you end up in Charlotte? Because of school or something else?
Because of school, for the most part. I was actually going to University of Hartford, needed a different experience, and ended up in North Carolina. Somewhere I didn't know anybody and I could start all over.
And how was that? How was your experience at UNCC?
It was an experience.
Okay, you want to go?
We're gonna leave it.
That might be okay.
I graduated. That's all that matters.
I heard that. So let's go back. Let's go back to the little Todd. Okay, so this was one of my favorite pictures that you submitted. So I don't want to guess because I don't want to be wrong. But are you on the right or on the left?
I'm the bigger one.
Okay, so that's you.
Yeah.
All right, and then this little Todd.
This
is your little brother.
Yeah, it's my younger brother.
Okay.
Actually, he lives here in town.
Okay, and what's his name?
Well, the people that know him as Remy.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's Eric Malloy.
Oh, okay, he's Eric Malloy, but everybody call him Remy.
Remy.
You have a nickname?
No.
All right, do you really not have a nickname?
No, really. I was.
You don't want to tell us you were like little Pudge.
Well, in truth, they call me Otis because that's actually my middle name.
Okay.
But it was Otis the Drunk from Andy Griffith's show.
Okay.
That's dating me. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's black and white.
Yeah. It goes back.
Okay. but you were clearly not named after Otis, or were you named after Otis?
No, I was. That's
Get out of here.
That's another strange story.
So what were you like as a little kid? Like, give me five adjectives.
5 adjectives. Wow.
As a kid, little Todd, little Otis.
Trying to figuring it out is one word.
That's 3 words.
Oh, figuring it out. Is
okay, fine. That's
you are meticulous.
I am.
Okay. I was really just a kid trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I wasn't raised by my father. My father left when I was 5, so I was told I was a grown man and it's time to be a man.
Wow.
Now. So that young man you see standing next to me, even at this age, calls me dad. So.
Oh wow. That's deep.
Yeah. So.
Now, what's the age difference between you and your brother?
2.
Just 2 years. Now, do you have other siblings?
Stepsisters on the other side of the country, but we weren't reared together.
Okay. And so you took on the role of being the man of the house at a very young age. How do you think that shaped you?
It's helped me to be who I am today, really.
Really?
I have to attribute who I am and what I do and how I do what I do based on my life's experiences, of which that was a pivotal part. That taught me how fragile life is.
Right.
And how I wanted to be a part of the solution as opposed to a part of the problem.
So I'm not. Can I ask your age, or are we? No.
No, I'm not ashamed of it. It's 57.
You look good, though. You look good for 57. So being raised in the late 60s, then.
Correct.
In Hartford, what was the atmosphere like being a young black man?
Lower income. Asked to run numbers about that age.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, for those people who don't know, the millennials out here have no idea what running numbers.
That's like illegal gambling in the hood.
Okay. That's a nice way of describing it, but okay. And if you don't pay, then there's problems.
It is what it is.
Right. Okay. So what else?
It was projects, basically. Lower socioeconomic. I had a mother that was in the 9th grade. Dropped out of school in the 9th grade. Husband that took her out of town and said, hey, never mind, I don't want to be here anymore.
Wow.
So you figure it out. It's a mother with a 9th grade education trying to raise 2 boys. High school was interesting. I started off in a public high school, but I recognized I'd be sucked up into the community. So
what do you mean by that?
Basically, you either gang bang, drug dealing, or just wilding.
Wow.
Because of the academic part of me, I wanted other opportunities. Real talk for a second. I didn't want to just be consumed by the neighborhood and be another N-word on the block.
Right. You can say nigga here.
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine. You can cuss.
Oh,
you
okay.
can say,
okay, cool.
I'd rather you not drop F-bombs, but you can.
No, I don't do that. No, I didn't want to be another nigga on the block.
Right.
I wanted more. There had to be more to the world than my 6 blocks around me. And one of the things my mother did when I was a kid is she took my brother and I to Coney Island. And she used to always say, do not allow where you come from to define who you are. So that she put us on the train. We went to Coney Island. We had adjoining rooms. We ran through the hotel.
Oh, you lost your mind.
Oh man, no, I was a kid in the candy shop for real.
I bet.
And to this day, I remember. But that was the evidence that there was more going on than my blocks. So from that moment on, it kind of propelled me to want more than what was before me. That the sky's the limit if I choose it to be.
Okay.
So from that moment on, I chose that what I wanted to do. And academics was my thing. I went to my mother and said, hey, I can't beat the neighborhood. So I want to be removed to send me to private school and I'll pay for it. So I went to work, facilitated paying for private school and kept moving.
Okay, and where did you go to private school?
Went to South Catholic High School
in
Hartford, Connecticut.
And that was your whole high school?
Well, I started off at Weaver High School.
Okay.
And then I transitioned to South Catholic for sophomore, junior, and senior year. South Catholic was more organized, probably very homogenous.
Okay, so big words are allowed, but I'm going to ask you to break that down, sir.
Well, let's put it this way. There were probably only 10 black people.
There you go.
Right.
And out of, say, your senior class, about how many would you say you had in your senior class?
Senior class, 4 of us and 1 Puerto Rican.
Out of the whole class?
Out of, 300 people, 315.
Were y'all tight?
We were while we were there, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much so. We all caught the same bus.
Right.
2 buses to get there, 2 buses to get back.
And so when you got there, was it a culture shock for you?
Yeah.
How so?
Culture shock in that you're always on edge. Because you found people that didn't want you there.
Right. Because this is still in the 70s, right?
Yeah,
late 70s?
Exactly.
And this is after Brown v. Board, after forced busing, integration. So what are you experiencing then at that time?
Fortunately, I basically haven't grown since I was 15. I was like this at 15.
Oh, so they were not coming for you, sir.
No, they would do the subtle things and do things. However, I never ran. I don't run fast. So you always have to stand your ground.
Right. And
so once I demonstrated that I'd hold my ground, it was simple after that part.
And then what was probably the first time you really experienced real racism there?
Oh, real racism was the first time I got in corporate America.
So you were good through high school.
Yeah, through high school, again, people would say things, do things, but when I stood up for myself and recognized I wasn't going anywhere, that dissipated because their effects didn't affect me.
Right.
However, going to corporate America and to be a part of that dynamic where you show up and you have a professional job,
right,
and a suit, leather briefcase, gold initials, and they jump when they see you in the elevator.
And they still do.
Oh, very much so. I'm gray. They still jump.
Right.
However, to be able to go to a social event and no one wants to sit at the table with you, they rather walk all the way around the room and say, "Oh God, I gotta sit with you," or be called an uppity nigga that don't know your place to your face.
That's deep. If you're just joining us, we are talking a little bit about his story, aka Otis, aka Remy. But we're getting to the good picture, which I think is my absolute favorite.
No.
Bam! Yes! That fro is tight. Now we might need to edge that up a little bit over there.
What we had to do is cut that line back a little further. That was a dimple.
Alright, and now we legit have the whole name.
Yes.
Okay, so how old were you in this picture?
17. Yes,
Okay,
17.
so this is right as I kind of guessed, like we're getting close to graduation.
Correct.
Did you play any sports in high school?
Not really. I was a martial artist, so I took martial arts.
Okay, what type of martial arts?
Or Wing Chun, Muay Thai.
Okay, wait, slow down. Wing Chun.
Wing Chun,
What's
Bruce
that?
Lee's martial art.
Shut the front door. Is that what it's called for real?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, I did.
once he started in Wing Chun and transitioned into Jeet Kune Do, which he and a couple of other people founded.
Mm-hmm.
However, with Wing Chun, you're right.
So when did you start doing that?
Well, I started martial arts when I was 15.
Okay, so you smart and you can beat people down with it.
Well, yeah, I can do both.
Okay,
I told you I didn't run fast. So.
right. So you had to stand stand up and get up in it. Okay, all right. And so, are there degrees or belts with that?
Oh yeah. So I basically transitioned from Tai Chi Lung Kung Fu, Delman Sailor, to Francis Fong Wing Chun, to Wing Chun Muay Thai with Francis Fong, and to forgive me, Jordan, and Shenmen Dao Kung Fu, which is Tai Chi, Xingyi, and Bakwa.
Holy cow! And that was all as it was
Over the course of my life.
Okay.
I never grew out of my Bruce Lee phase of life. So.
Right.
So I enjoy, even to this day, I enjoy training because it's a mind, body, spirit.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's actually not about really defending yourself. It's about really coming into a sense of awareness, of personal awareness, and a freeing of oneself. So you connect mind, body, and spirit. It's a powerful tool.
So you ended up coming to Charlotte. So of course we had to, shout out to the bros.
Oh, you know, that's it. To the bros.
Okay, all right. You need a hook. No.
Oh, you want?
Yeah, we need. Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
just so that everybody's aware. Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so is this a UNCC?
Yes.
Okay. What year?
What is it? 90.
Okay. And your eldest is
Ali Mayu.
And what is Ali Mayu? It's a beautiful name.
What does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
In honor of God.
Oh, that's beautiful. What's the ethnic
Swahili.
background? That is beautiful. So, and then your next eldest?
Is Osei. That's
Okay.
from Ghana. It's Tui.
Okay.
Meaning maker of that which is great.
Oh my gosh, love that. And then tell me her name again.
It's Bintu for gift of God.
And then you have a fourth.
Elias.
Elias.
Right. No,
Okay.
Elias.
Elias.
Right. Eliaz.
Okay.
Which is Hebrew, but it has African origins. My God is strong.
Oh my gosh. So you spoke life into them immediately.
Oh, no doubt.
So you were able to get into engineering before you actually had the degree.
Correct.
Now, how did you manage that?
Well,
Because that's interesting. That this is the 80s, right?
Right. Well, it really goes back to when I was 17. I wanted to always be a therapist.
Okay.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I went to senior year of school, they said, hey, the school I went to, you go to your profession. So they sent me to University of Connecticut Medical School. And they had a group of us, and I was up front, and I was excited, and touched the cadavers. And I was like, again, a kid in a candy shop.
Right.
Then the intern said, Todd, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a therapist. I want to be a psychiatrist. And he said, you got 12 more years of school. And in my limited mind in that point, I recognized I had to finance my own way through high school. I could not imagine trying to finance 12 years of education, not knowing about student loans and grants and all of these other different things. So I said, okay, what am I good at? I'm good at math and science. I had an uncle that was a draftsman. He always talked about being an engineer. One day I said, I'll be an engineer. And began to do more project management stuff, do new product introduction for the electromechanical industry, for cell phones, composite booms, the You have hybrid electric buses here.
Mm-hmm.
That brain is from a team that I managed and things of that nature.
Interesting. And so you end up coming back to UNCC, you get your degree. Now, do you go back into corporate America?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to UNCC, went back into corporate America after that seminary. I mean, it's been an eclectic journey.
Mm-hmm. So how long were you in corporate America before you was like, nah, I'm done?
30.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
At 30 years old, you're like, I'm done?
No. I did 30 years in corporate America total.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the good part then. Okay, let's get to the good part.
So I was a full-time employee. I was a full-time grad student. I did clinical. I slept 5 hours a day.
For how long?
For 3 years.
Wow. And so when you made the decision, so what was the calling for you to decide to go to ministry? Spoiler alert,
yeah.
ministry, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was spoken to me when I was a kid.
Really?
When I was a kid. My aunt, prophetess Jessie Beatty, said to me that I was going to be preaching one day, and I said, "Oh yeah, okay."
Right. As you running down the street, running them numbers, all right then.
Yeah, okay. So, but as I got older, I was in Atlanta when I was 28, and I met a minister, and before then I had done a lot of things in the church. I had worked in the church when I was a kid. Did ministry and sang in the choir, men's chorus, a number of things. However, but when I was about 28, it was a different sound, and it's really about building a personal relationship with God. And I was sitting back in, I don't know, it had to be around 91. I was sitting in a chair, and I believe I had a God experience.
Wow.
And it was done at that point.
And so then one of my other favorites, because I actually asked you specifically for pictures during the time that you were in the ministry. Tell us about this one.
Well, that was baptism day. That was the day that I was baptizing members of the church.
And what church was this?
Zion Christian Ministry.
Now, is this a church that you were the pastor over at that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where is that church located?
Well, it was actually on the campus of UNC Charlotte. I wanted to blend the community and the college students.
Interesting.
And to again, just do what I believe I've been called to do. You know, even as what I do today, I don't think it's far off from what I've been called to do. For me, ministry, that type of ministry, was for a season. I've learned a lot, and it allows me to work with church leadership in ways that, because I've been there, done that, that a lot of people can't. One of the things is that when you're an elder in leadership and mature in the things of God, to be able to talk to other parishioners or other members of the faith, they always challenge your faith. What's wrong with you, Doc? Don't you remember? We ain't talk about that.
Right.
I'm trying to have real talk. But what I do now makes sense of my season in there, is because I give people the ability to be free.
Now, were you non-denominational at that point, or a particular denomination?
Non-denominational.
And was it always non-denominational?
Now, I grew up in a holiness church.
Okay, now that's interesting. To go from holiness to your actual calling being non-denominational. Why do you think that is?
I don't want to offend nobody.
Listen, you already said the N-word, so let's go get it.
Okay, we're on it.
We got a whole 2 episodes.
You know, one of the things is, for me, is that when I was raised in fire baptized. You know, everybody was fire and brimstone. Everybody going to hell. And my point was, if we're all going to hell, the people outside the church look like they're having fun.
Right. You better keep it real up in here.
Right, but that's what and it just didn't resonate with me well. As I grew and became members of the Baptist church, and my bishop at the time was a Baptist and so forth. For me, it's really about having a relationship with God. And if I really look at it, I don't know that, and forgive all the other theologians you got out there, but I don't know, during biblical times we were supposed to have the divisions. I thought we were supposed to be one body, many members, but one body. That's kind of how it resonated with me. It's about walking with God. Real talk is I actually expected to die preaching.
Really?
Right. In the pulpit, I go sing, have this great sermon. I go home, sit in my lazy boy, and kick back, and the Lord said, "Come on, well done, my good and faithful servant." So when in the midst of recognizing that God called me to go on sabbatical a year before I actually took it, I wrestled because it was contrary to what I believed. However, when we become believers, we really sign up and say whatever. And however, I've lost sight of that.
Right.
So after a year of torment, and the Lord finally broke my hip, like He did Jacob, and I said, "Okay, Lord, whatever."
And so that's how you took that sabbatical indirectly.
Took the sabbatical indirectly and recognized that counseling or becoming a therapist was really where I was headed to go. For me, my eclectic life has really allowed me to connect to a wide range of people, because I never wanted to deal with pieces and parts of a person. I want to deal with the whole. So as I deal with the mind, body, and spirit, that means we are sexual beings.
Right.
It's a quality of life issue. Having gone through ministry and deal with from a faith perspective, being in graduate school and going through this, therapeutic modalities, interventions, etc., allows me to really connect to people in a whole way and create a space for them, a safe space for them to be free and really achieve what they're looking for. It really comes down to, does God honor truth or picture?
Oh, that's deep. Say that again, sir.
Does God honor truth or picture?
Does God honor truth or a picture?
Correct. So I went around.
Outstanding.
I didn't want to answer that for myself, so I went around and asking pastors all over the world and said, "Hey, what do you think about this concept?" And discuss it. And they said, "Well, God honors truth." I said, "Well, the church and society honors pictures."
That's true.
I said,
that is so true. Speak on that for a second, if you don't mind.
Oh, but that's what it is. It's I'm offending some people.
We passed that.
Okay.
Todd, it's okay. Cool. This is a safe place here.
Okay. Well, I'm used to just being in my office.
Yeah. No. You can say.
People like black love. Okay, that's nice. And so they want to see two pretty black people together in a family that represent, because if you fall, it's like we done damned the whole nation of black people. Yeah. And I think there's too much responsibility for any one group of people.
Absolutely.
But if that picture isn't true, is God honoring it? Right. So even though we do things in whatever belief system we have, even if you believe in yourself, that's believing something. But if it isn't honoring truth, what's the point? And why have two people choose to die bitter old people? As opposed to both people ending up where they really want to be, having the experiences that they want. What better testimony is to show a joy, a growth, a maturity, and a level of responsibility that allows people to be free?
Excellent. That is so deep. We're gonna have to. We got to use that quote and write it down and trademark that. That's beautiful. Seriously. How did you decide to go from being, I guess, a standard therapist, if there is such a thing, excuse my ignorance, to deciding that sex therapy was where you wanted to focus your practice?
Well,
because everybody's like, well, how in the world you go from being an engineer, wait a minute, engineer, and he was a pastor.
I said, wait a minute.
Right. But then it's like, wait a minute, now he does sex therapy, but he was a pastor. How that work? What?
Because God doesn't have a problem with sex.
You better tell it.
No, he really
does not, and it's okay.
God talks about pleasure and face between thighs, all that stuff. And
we gonna get to that. Lord have mercy. Okay.
Read the Songs of Solomon, y'all.
Right.
If you don't have a pimp line, that's gonna help.
Oh my God. I love it.
God talks about pleasure. He talks about procreation. He talks about all of these things. If anything, if there's any real debate, it's timing.
That's right.
The real debate is only over timing.
What do you mean by that?
Whether you should, Bible's clear. A married bed is undefiled. I recognize many people don't wait till that long. Okay, so that's the only issue. But it's not the act, it's timing.
That's deep. That's deep, because a lot of people, I think, struggle with reconciling what the Bible says as far as abstinence or waiting until marriage and all that. And
well, I mean, they're coming from a real place, because the Bible's real clear. It's better to marry than burn. Right. So, but it was interesting. Early in my Christendom, had a pastor. Doesn't matter. Well, I was going to say female, but it really doesn't matter. The pastor said, "There's going to come a point in life where you choose to sin against God." And at that point, oh God, no, never me. No, I love God.
Blasphemy.
Right, exactly. But then it comes to a point where real life hits him, and you have to make choices,
right?
And you carry the weight that goes with those choices.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of me, at one point in my life, in the midst of my transition from being married, I had a conversation with God. And, you know, I'm playing the violin here, you know, I'm a little dusty, and I'm supposed to stay married for the rest of my life, Lord, and I know probably disappointed, hurt people, and went through my little violin story. And you know, whatever your listeners think, I'm going to say what I believe.
Right.
Holy Ghost said, welcome home, son, welcome to the family. Because as I began to go back, not things I didn't know, but refamiliarize myself with the book and recognize the Bible is full of perfectly flawed people trying to serve the God that they love. And it's not that you fall, but you keep getting back up. That's the true telltale story for me, is that to continue to get up and continue to move and still love the God that you serve.
That's fascinating. So when you decided specifically you wanted to become a certified sex therapist, what was the impetus, or what was the...
Well, that was something that's always been, I've always been fascinated by sex. You know, real talk. As a kid, I really thought to be like a porn star, and then, you know, have direct porn films.
You better just tell the truth up in here.
Right. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
So, you know, I was going to be a porn star, but then that would have shamed my mama.
Right.
So as I matured through the process, and while I was in grad school, I met Sally Foley, who's an outstanding sex therapist. She's retired now, but started the advanced studies program at University of Michigan I attended. I met her and we had a conversation, and she talked about the field of sex therapy, and I shared with her my story and the whole I was going to be a porn star, but I didn't want to shame my mom.
Right.
And from that moment on, it was on. I met her in 2008, and the rest has been history.
So you went to grad school in Michigan?
Well, I went to Pfeiffer University here.
Okay.
Then I did my advanced studies at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Then I taught there for several years, and last year decided to retire.
Okay.
And here I am.
And so once you, now explain for us, for those of us who don't know, so what's the process then from, because we think therapy and getting your master's or what that looks like, but how is it different if your focus is on particularly helping dealing with sex therapy?
Right, it's like anything, it's a specialization. So even though I can become a doctor or I can be a neurosurgeon. Right. So when you're a doctor, you get become an MD, but then you got to take the additional studies to add on different flavors.
And is that in Michigan or is that?
Right, the advanced. So Pfeiffer took care of the licensure for marriage and family, or all the requirements that I could be a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then even though not all graduate programs, this particular program had one class that was about sex. It doesn't
just one?
One class.
On the marriage and family?
Right.
Just one?
One class.
Okay.
Now on sex therapy, now I went through an 18-month, after that I had to go another 18 months to do intensive sex therapy, work with trauma, understand the brain, understand the body. So I was actually trained with medical professionals and other mental health professionals.
Gotcha.
To understand it from a very scientific perspective.
And then from there, did you, is there additional certificate? Because
Right,
now
one-
it
yeah,
sounds
once
like we
I-
got like 18 letters after your name at this point.
Yeah. Well, so then after that, you apply for your certification from the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, which I serve on the board of directors now. And once you do what I would call a clinical, you prove that you're good at what you do, then they certify you, and here you are. You can hang your shingle up and do what you do.
And so when you got certified, what year was that?
That was, Lord have mercy, 2013.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 13.
And so you were an anomaly then at that point, as far as
I didn't know though. All I knew was what I wanted.
Right. So, but I mean, did you find, so there was no parade when you finished and, hey, you're the first African American?
No, actually I didn't know. Who told me was my mentor.
Holy cow, really?
Yeah, it was the boy mentor. The program I went through, there was one other African American male. However, he didn't complete the process before I did.
Wow.
Life
Right.
shows up.
Right.
So, however, I submitted my paper a year before he did. So here I am.
And so now here we are. Now let's get to the good stuff. So did you immediately go into private practice?
Well, I started private practice in 2011.
Okay.
And we're just adding. The sex piece was an adder, so I could really work with my clients the best way possible.
Right.
I want to work from a holistic perspective, so that was the added piece.
Is that the majority of your practice, or do you still do general marriage and family, or it depends?
It's for me. It's the whole practice, and let me explain.
Sure.
It's a quality of life issue.
Of course.
So when people show up, you being a sexual being is a part of the conversation. So
Right.
even though other people may not bring it up, but we go there.
Right.
In my office, we go there.
When we think about sex, specifically, what do you think are the biggest issues involving healthy sex? Because we're going to get to the other side, but I want to start first with healthy sexual relationships. What do you think are the biggest issues that are keeping us from having healthy sexual relationships?
It really goes back to us not talking
Okay.
about sex and thinking it's taboo.
Why do you think that is?
To a large degree, we're still a very puritanical society.
Yeah.
And because of that, remember, we still all have a church influence. We're still a large population of believing people of something in this country.
Right.
So if you look at it from a very dogmatic perspective, the church's concept, my perspective of the church's concept of sex and sexuality comes really from articles written by like St. Augustine back in 400 times AD. And their particular struggle with sexuality and sex, of which the church adopted and kind of made it a bad thing.
Really? Get at it. Okay, let's unpack that for a second. Why do you think that was a struggle at that point? Because the perception historically is you think, well, if it wasn't looked at the way, there was more, almost not, I don't know, freedom, sexual freedom is the word, but why do you think the church?
I don't know that the church really had sexual freedom back then.
Really?
Well, what he talked about, I actually read the thesis, and he talks
From
about
St. Augustine?
Yes, I actually have it. Yes, but he talks about his own personal struggle. No different than the struggle we all have going through life, and hormones are raging while you're a teenager and trying to control yourself. I have clients even unto this day come to me and say how they've been taught sex was bad. So these are people that live here every day. So this is still a part of our society, irrespective of what we see on media. In the media, it still
But
exists.
do you think age has something to do with it? Do you think older people are struggling with it more than, I hate to say the word millennials, but somewhere in the 20s or even younger?
I think to a degree we're all struggling, but different ends of the pendulum swings differently.
Okay.
So from an older perspective, yes, we have the more dogmatic perspective. Younger people tend to be a lot more freer.
Right.
But with being free, they're also irresponsible.
Very true. Very true.
So there still has to be a balance. Just because the pendulum was swung too far over here doesn't mean you go to the one, you do 180-degree difference. At some point, you have to find a balance and find your own personal truth as opposed to being directed by other things.
The age range of your clients, is it 20-something to 70-something?
20-something to about 70-something.
And so getting back to the original question, and so not talking necessarily about couples or even individuals, just in a very general sense, what do you think are the biggest issues that are keeping us from having more healthy sexual relationships?
Not knowing oneself and being able to teach someone how to care for you.
Let's dig deeper on that. Let's start with the not knowing oneself.
Right. Just because we know we have pieces and parts doesn't say how we appreciate being touched, cared in the sequence and order we want to be touched. So even though our private parts were taught to be private, they're not supposed to be private for us. Do I understand how I want to be touched, speed, pressure? Do I understand where all of my erogenous zones are?
Right, or what they are. Oh my God, we don't even talk about what's an erogenous zone? What does that mean?
Exactly. So do I understand how I like to be touched and where? Do I understand that with where my skin is thin, nerve endings are much more sensitive. So it's a light touch here, but if you want to touch my thigh, you can handle me like you know me.
Right.
But so if I'm not fully aware of this, then I'm not able to teach my partner. So what we tend to do is say, hey, I got some pieces and parts, you got some pieces and parts. Let's throw them together, see what happens, and hope for the best.
And so why is that, why do you think, or do you think it's becoming a bigger issue now when you're seeing all of this, in the media and music and video? Well, I mean, people even make videos anymore, but you know what I'm saying? But when you see it everywhere, and there's so much access to porn, and there's so much access to being able to see sex without any restrictions. Gone are the days of Cinemax when it was like you stay up to midnight, maybe you'll see some titties. I don't know, but versus now it's like sex is everywhere. It's free.
Right. But we see mechanics.
Exactly.
That's all you see of mechanics. You really don't understand that it's more than that. Even the research that we have shows when emotions are involved and true connection is involved, it is actually the godlike experience.
Okay.
Where what's going on is far bigger than the sum of the parts.
Now, by godlike, do you mean orgasmic, or do you
orgasmic?
Okay.
Yes.
Can we? Because we can say orgasms. Orgasms.
That orgasm is an outer body experience.
Right.
It's far bigger than the sum of the parts. But even with premature ejaculation, it has a higher propensity not to happen when there is actual emotional connection.
Wow. And say that again for the people in the back who didn't hear what you just said.
Okay, people in the back that didn't hear. Premature ejaculation, when a man orgasm or comes too sooner than ladies you want him to, if there's more of an emotional connection, that slows that down.
Exactly. Lord have mercy. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, so you talk about knowing oneself.
Correct.
But I still want to dig a little bit deeper though, because I think we still struggle. For example, one of the questions that was asked was, as a woman, and I'm paraphrasing her question, can you give us tips on if we do know ourselves or we're very comfortable with our sexuality, how do we explain it how do you explain it to a man in a way that he doesn't get offended?
I just had this conversation before getting here.
Excellent. Let's talk about it.
I had it with a guy, but it's the same.
We got it.
Okay. Really, everybody has a time that you can talk to them. Some people after making love in the cut, laying in the cut, in the afterglow, we can talk. Some people go on walks, hand in hand walking, or strolling, watching TV over food. It's really about picking a time and having the conversation with your clothes on, not with your clothes off.
Indeed. Very true.
So.
And not right after sex.
You can't have it after sex, but it's not about Hold on. But it's not about the sex you have.
Right.
It's about going forward. It's about, hey, you know what I'd like to add? It's not what you did right or wrong. It's like what I would like more of, and hey, what do you think about? So it's not pointing fingers of judgment.
Right.
It's about sharing it. Hey, what I call Jay-Z moments. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I love that. Say it again, sir.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. But we all should take Jay-Z moments because we're consistently changing and transforming. So just because we were intimate one day doesn't mean that you shouldn't be open to learn something new. Because since the experience we've had, I've had some new thoughts. I've had a new experience. You stimulated avenues of thought for me. And can you be open enough to hear what I have to say so we can explore new depths?
So let's first talk about the gentleman you had the conversation with today, and then I want you to put yourself in her shoes.
All right, correct. So, gentleman's been dating a woman for about a year, and for him, intimacy is not what he wants it to be.
Okay.
And I said, well, why aren't you not having the conversation? Well, I don't know how to have that conversation. And I said, basically, let's just be honest. It's not about she's not good enough or whatever. It's really about, hey, there's some things that I'd like to share. And just fully clothed, but let's talk about things that I'd like to experience and I explore intimately. I enjoy what we have. These are the things that I enjoy, but I'd like more of. And I'd like to see how open you are to that. Let's have that type of conversation.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be intense. It can just be more matter of fact. I'd like to talk to you about, hey, I value you. I see us growing. There'll be parts of our relationship that I'd like to introduce more of myself to you.
Okay.
It's non-threatening.
Okay. And that's approaching it from that perspective, not saying, you know, if you could just do this or that, yeah.
But we also have to qualify the people we're in relationship.
Right.
Do you want someone that can be open to hear you?
I think that's the question. The way that the question was phrased.
Or do you want? Are you wrestling with someone that can't get past their own ego? I've been in rooms where men, because I often ask partners, does your partner know how to satisfy you, or how does your partner satisfy you? And I have women, particularly, shaking their head like, "We've been together 15 years. He ain't got a clue."
Wow.
I mean, that's not a unique response. And I've also had men say, "Hey, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Stop fooling." But his ego is in the way, and he's not willing. He's not open to hearing, because as men, we're supposed to have all the answers. Everybody's supposed to be hung to their ankles. We have all of these myths and stereotypes.
Okay, I'm about to leave this earth. Okay, go ahead.
You know, we got all these myths and stereotypes that everybody's trying to fit to, as opposed to be genuine and authentic to who you are.
Right.
Because this is the benefit, and I enjoy. I like talking to people in general about sex, because I like to dispel myth. Because if you really understood the vaginal tract, you understood the penis and all of these different things, you recognize it don't take all that. If you just relax and enjoy yourself and allow it to be an experience as opposed to a mission, you might be on to something.
Right. And we're going to come back to that. So, but from a woman's perspective, what advice would you give this young lady who is struggling with how to tell him?
But it's really to take the soft approach.
Okay.
Is that I want to talk. I want to be able to share more pleasures with you. And the parts of me that maybe I haven't taken the time to explain. And I was wondering if you're willing to hear me.
Now, Todd, from a woman's perspective, let me tell you now. I can imagine at 45 years old having this conversation, and it still put the man on the defensive. Even trying to take the soft approach, clothes on.
But it's not about. It's in that he has issues.
Right. Okay. So if you have somebody who can pull the ego aside and listen, obviously it sounds like that's the thing.
Let's do it this way.
Okay.
Do you mind role playing?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I will be defensive. No. I want you to be the man. I'll be the woman.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay.
Really, what I teach in my office is for people to be present, honest, sincere in every moment.
Okay.
And start conversations from your experience, not from your intellect.
Okay.
And to have healthier clothes. So let's do it.
So I'm the guy.
You're the guy.
And you're her.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm her.
Okay.
And honey, I'd like to share some things about myself that I think are important for you to know. I'm enjoying our relationship, and I want us to grow.
All right, what's up? I mean, is there a problem?
Well, first of all, why is me talking to you? It has to be a problem. I just shared with you that I'm looking to grow with you, and there's some things about me that you.
You said you okay. I mean, I get that, but you want to grow. Like, is there what's the problem that you need to tell me about so that we can grow?
So first, are we having a combat or are we talking?
No, I just wanted. I mean, you said you asked me whether or not I wanted to know about some other things that we can grow. What kind of things? What are we talking about?
First, I'd like to have an engaging conversation with you, something that shows that you're open.
I ain't mad. I just want to know what's up.
First, you're not even letting me. My lips are still moving, and you're not allowing me to finish my conversation.
All right, my bad.
So right there, I'm not feeling this. I really want to have. I really just want to have a healthy, flowing conversation with you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm listening.
So all I want to share is I enjoy our intimacy. I enjoy the time that we shared. However, for me, I want to talk about what intimacy looks like for me, because I think we may have, there's some new definitions that I've come up with in understanding myself, and I'd like to share those with you so we can have those be a part of our relationship.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean. New definitions, what?
Well, for me, intimacy isn't just sex. I'd like you to be able to make love to my mind such that my body follows.
You calling me stupid?
No.
Okay. What do you mean make love to your mind? What does that mean?
Okay. Now, first, what I'm sharing with you, as opposed to taking the defensive approach, I want you to hear what I'm saying.
Okay, my bad. I'm listening.
Okay. So what I'm asking you to do is, there's some things that I'm just learning about myself, and I would like to hip you to.
Okay.
Because I want to share those experiences with you. Or if the way this conversation is going, I'm wondering if you want to hear about my growth.
I mean, I hear you. I'm just trying to understand, like, is it something that I'm done you don't want me to do, or something that I'm doing that I'm just trying to get to the heart of what's going on.
First of all, it's not about you, it's about me.
I get
it's not
it.
about no you didn't, because you just asked me.
See, now I'm gonna stop it right there, Todd. Now here's the problem that most women have though.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get this.
Mm-hmm.
You're using a lot of words.
Okay.
He's not hearing what you're
Correct.
saying, and
Correct.
she's getting frustrated because it's
and then you shut it down. It's because it's not going.
Right.
Because again, it goes back to that person is too caught up in themselves. They're
exactly.
not. So therefore, you even have to ask the question: should I be in relationship with someone that doesn't want to hear me?
Or if I can play devil's advocate, use less words and simplify. Because if I'm hearing this, not being a man, and I'm hearing all this, there's a whole lot of stuff and intimacy, and like I don't know what that means.
Right. But if first you have to know your player you're working with.
Right.
However,
that's why I say, man, you calling me dumb.
Right. No, but okay.
I'm just saying. It was a lot of words, Todd.
Okay.
It was a lot of words.
But
right.
the words are coming from the number of words are as a result of a pushback.
Right.
So most of the words would just say, "Hey, dude, I just really want to talk to you. Can we have a conversation?" So the word.
You told me to be a dude. I'm just telling you, this is what we deal with.
Okay. But then, therefore, it goes back to we need to qualify who we're in relationship with.
Even when you have that conversation up front, hey, this is what I like, this is what I want to try, and they seem to respond positively to that. But and this was part of her question, but I think I speak for a lot of women. There's still so much taboo for a woman being sexually free, not running out here in these streets wilding out, but being aware of her body and being sexually free
to explore with the person she chooses to.
Because that takes, I think that the average grown woman at that point, that's going to take a level of trust. That is going to take a level of confidence and not feeling like that she's going to be judged if she says the things that she really likes. Because I think the taboo is still very much there, that while I think we speak about sex and relationships more openly, I think it's still very difficult for any woman, particularly older women, 30s, 40, I don't say older, we still fabulous, but you know what I'm saying, like to have those conversations and not feel like they're being judged, or a man taking it the wrong way, that they can't, rise to the occasion, if you will.
I wonder how we qualify people.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
If you're not open to hear me and grow with me, learn with me, and allow me to share, should I even be in a relationship with you in the first place? And should I be qualifying you before we even get to that level of relationship?
True.
And we're not taught to have the intimate conversation. We're taught to be great students. We're taught to be great employees, but we're not taught to be great intimate partners. So again, there's having the language, being willing to be transparent, vulnerable, that I can be safe with you. It's difficult in our modern day society. So even though we've been together for years, just having the conversation, hey, you know what, I think that, in long-term relationships, I'll just talk about the couple I had. The husband and wife were bored with each other, and they decided to explore. They didn't know how to explore, so the husband said, hey, why don't we just have a third person? Wife was against it.
Right.
Then they irresponsibly invited a third person in, and the wife got feelings for the third. And then it had an awful impact on the relationship, and so now they're trying to mend that relationship, but as opposed to each one respecting each other's boundaries. And even though you wanted to explore, hey, how do you want to explore? Not just follow me on this journey,
right?
But make it a collaborative approach as opposed to one person forcing the other one to do some things that they weren't comfortable doing.
So do you think the problem was they didn't have more of a real talk conversation?
Exactly.
Because you said they irresponsibly brought in a third person. What do you mean by that?
Because the wife really didn't have power. She didn't feel her voice was heard before the act, and then after the act, she didn't feel her voice was heard. It was dominated by one or the other partner.
Right.
So, hey, I'm bored. Let's do this. I'm bored. Well, no. First of all, why are you bored?
Right.
Okay.
Asking the wrong questions.
Right. Let's start at what this is really about, and why are you bored, and how. And too often times, because we're not having that conversation about what we enjoy about each other, and really saying, hey, over the years, we met 16 years ago. This is what I've learned about my body. I didn't like beets 16 years ago. I eat beets now.
BEETS.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Right. But what I'm saying is the only thing consistent in life is change.
Right.
So am I bored because I haven't introduced my changes or something else? But let's have that conversation. And in the midst of the conversation, we talk about exploring. Where do you want to explore? How do we explore? Hey, let's go to some sex shops. They have sex shows here in town. Let's begin to explore and see what the plethora of the field of opportunities are, and then see how that resonates with us. And then we incrementally begin to expand our experiences and our exposure. In sexuality, you have high performers, low performers. There's so many variables. It's not just important. You have pieces and parts.
And do you mean just performers, like as far as the sexual act, or is there more
quantity?
Okay.
So I have a client now. Her interest in sex is twice a month. Her husband's is 4 times a week. So just because we're partners doesn't mean that we're leveled.
Gotcha.
On sexuality, how often, the quality, or what you're talking about, or the quantity is what I'm talking about. I think you're mostly talking about the quality and the experiences that we have. So it's about level setting all of those things. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. There's not one size fits all. And we have to be able to sit down and have the conversation about my nuances. Just because you've been with 100 people, you ain't been with me.
Let's also keep it real. Let's say you don't want that sexual relationship where there's the intimacy piece. You just want the physical satisfaction.
Correct.
Is there a place and a space to be able to even have those conversations about, sex and what you like and what you don't like, if there's no desire to have that deeper intimate connection?
Lesser of a conversation, but lesser of a conversation, but you understand what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
It is what it is.
Do you think soul ties are real?
Say again, please.
Soul ties. Do you think they are real?
Explain your definition of soul
So,
ties.
I don't know if it's a male thing or a woman thing, but that you get a soul connection, like a soul tie, TIE, to a person.
Well, it's what I would say pheromones. From the science of what they call a sex smoke. It's just people that you see and you come across and you're drawn to.
Right.
That's real. Such things exist. And that does happen. And we can come together and we can click and we can bond and we can do all those things. And if it's just about maintenance and doing some things, we can do some things.
Right.
However, that has very little to do about relationship. Now we're talking about character, mind, and quality of person. But those things do happen and we can, pop off and have a real good time.
Okay.
But it's a luck of the draw.
Right. Now, for those who don't understand or don't know what that is, what are, we know pheromones exist, but what are they in a scientific biological way?
Right. What they are is it's invisible. It's like a mist that is exchanged between two people that share similar, their DNAs connect.
Get out of here, for real?
For real.
Okay, wait a minute. I feel like I need to write this. Okay, I don't have a paper. Go ahead.
What is the sex smoke? You feel a pull or draw to someone. That's actually a chemical experience that's happening between two people. You can't see it, but it does exist.
What do you think the biggest complaint that men have for women in terms of sexuality or pleasure? From what you've heard. Oh, somebody about to get mad. Yes, we'll talk about it though.
Again, I had this conversation just before I got here. So, vaginal moisture.
Okay, she was too dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that more than one time.
Okay, from a woman's perspective.
From a man's perspective.
I'm addressing that from a woman's perspective. So, can't speak for all women, but can speak for a lot of women because we talk Obviously, you know, in our own conversations, probably as much, if not more explicitly than I think men do. You know, y'all have locker room talk.
I was reared in a house with a bunch of women.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Our biggest complaint is, you know, a lot of women, if she is not there with you mentally or not being stimulated, she gonna dry up, or she might get wet, but she not gonna stay, or she's gonna dry up.
Intimacy is neck up, not waist down.
Right, and so I think the biggest complaint. I know I asked you the question about a man's biggest complaint, but I think a woman's biggest complaint, or one of the biggest complaints, is not understanding that, one, wet doesn't mean ready. Two, dry doesn't mean that I'm not there. She just has to be stimulated. You have to know where to go, what your erogenous zones in terms of stimulating that. So I think some men, or at least in my own conversations with my girlfriends, is like they just assume you excited, let's go get it, woo. But you know, you just not there mentally, and you just laying there like, okay.
And I talk a lot about that in my office. Men are C1 have. It's how we're wired. Men and women are wired differently. Women look for atmosphere and mental stimulation, and then they want sex.
Right.
Men really want afterglow, but we go after the sex to get to the afterglow. Women want afterglow first, sex second. Men want sex first to get to afterglow because that's their pathway to get to. Men are C1 have. Women, and this is according to research, not because I'm a man, women lack erotic focus. It's mental because their brains are running all the time. They have body issues, they have the to-do list, they're trying to achieve, they're trying to make sure people around them, their husbands, partners, children happy, boss happy, so forth. So until their brains slow down, it hinders the arousal process.
Oh my God, talk about go. Okay, I'm sorry.
So if a man has to understand, in a woman, working with a woman, depending on where she is in her life, the type of foreplay that's appropriate to the stage of life she's at, which slows her brain down, which allows the arousal process. And now men are focused on the tyranny of the orgasm. You know, they just, did she orgasm, now you pop your collar like you did some work. But what that has a tendency to do is make intimacy a mission-based experience as opposed to a full body experience. Because people fail to recognize the largest sex organ is the skin, not just limited to the pelvic region.
That's right.
Right, so at which point you're looking to create an experience that allows a woman to get to the highest points of arousal. So therefore vaginal moisture is lesser of an issue.
It's being one of the biggest complaints. What about from women?
From women,
do we need a list?
Yeah. Women are very expressive. It really boils down to, and men have actually said this because they really haven't been trained and taught it when I've had men in private, but poking without purpose and intention. Okay.
Say it again, sir.
Poking without intention
or purpose. You mean poking? Poking. All right.
Basically, it's about really not understanding pieces and parts. Understanding, not many men are really trained or educated on a woman's body. And if a woman is not taking the time to teach, he's using yesterday's data in a new experience.
Oh, Jesus. I'm about to get up from this table, but we got to finish this show. Say that again. Wait for it, y'all.
You're using yesterday's data in a new experience. An old
yesterday's data
in a new experience.
In a new experience.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Okay, keep going.
This is why I'm sharing about the conversation, the importance of the conversation, the understanding of being self-aware. And even if you want to judge me, it really don't matter.
Right.
Because if you're judging me, you obviously don't want me. And I'm okay with that because there's going somebody else wants the flavor.
Right. Okay.
Women tolerate bad sex.
A lot. Yeah.
And when you tolerate bad sex, you're teaching that it's okay. That's probably one of the resistances a man has. Well, we've been handling business. I've been handling business. You've been telling me I've been great all this time now. 2 years in, you telling me I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
I have women that have vaginal pain but never tell their partner. They tell me, but they haven't told their partner. They've been in a relationship for 8 years.
Wow.
So it's a lack of education. But I tend to boil things down. You think I'm wordy.
Well, in that situation where you already know me.
It's a value statement.
Mhm.
People dress themselves beautifully, but I always ask them, I said, how can you put yourself through that and actually value who you are?
Mm.
So let's deal with self-value, self-importance, and you being a key factor in your own equation of life. And let's build from that place.
You have to come back.
All right,
You have
thank
to
you.
come back because
I
we got to
appreciate
talk erogenous zones. We got to talk about the biology of it. The things that we're missing in terms of understanding just how our bodies work. How do you physically show your partner what it is that you like in a way that is in a safe space?
Well, in my office, what I teach is sensate focus.
Sensate focus.
Sensate, SENSATE, focus.
Sensate focus. Okay.
Correct. It's a non-threatening exercise, and which is about creates connection.
Okay.
So basically, in my office, we do safe places like hands, but it's basically giving each other a body massage. But we're focusing on the pressure, speed, and temperature of the touch.
Wow.
And what we do is hand over hand to guide, to teach my specific equation, because the way you want to be touched is different than your sorority sister. So you may want this to be rubbed, the top of your hand to be rubbed nicely. She may want a little smack. But we teach that with clothes on, non-threatening, non-sexual ways, a full body, no hot spots initially. But what that is creating connection. And now I'm learning my body, you're learning how to touch me. So now we with all of that new knowledge, now as we're intimate, it becomes more of an experience as opposed to a mission.
Okay.
And it's a customized situation to your dynamic because it can't be repeated by anybody else.
How long does that process take when you're teaching them that, procedure?
Typically, I ask them not to have sex for 4 weeks.
Wait a minute, Todd. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. What? What in the world? Wait.
And if you feel you have to wait 4 hours after the exercise so you don't mess up the exercise. The exercise is about
connection. My God. Wait a minute. Before you can do the exercise, no nookie for 4 weeks.
Correct.
And,
But think about, hold on.
I'm just
You're thinking
struggling.
about going without. I'm looking at the other side.
Okay.
But now you got somebody with some skills that you don't train properly. So
True.
So on the other side, it's going to be on.
Okay.
So I can put you on pause for a minute, let you marinate properly.
Okay.
You can't, like the Mandavis, you have no wine before it's time. So
Yeah.
by the time we come together, now, look, real talk.
Please.
No matter how sexual we are, we've all been through a dry spell.
Yes.
Okay, just think about it as a dry spell.
That's a long time.
And it ain't, and I didn't say you
4
couldn't,
weeks.
I didn't say you couldn't personally take
You can
care
play
of
with
it.
yourself.
Right.
Oh, okay. You just can't have sex
With each other. Correct.
Okay. Okay. We okay. That's okay then. I approve, sir. Carry on.
Some of these questions
Carry
must be your
on.
own
No, this is
question.
personal. But like, wait a minute. You want me to do what? For how? I don't know about this. All right. Okay. Go ahead. We okay. We good. Go ahead.
All right. So, but sensate focus is one of the things that we do.
Fascinating.
We do breathing techniques, teach people how to breathe together. Breathing together, maintaining connection can be very stimulating.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you bookmark that there because a couple other questions came up. Talked about tantric sex. There was a couple of questions about that. What that is, what that looks like, how does that really work?
Yes.
Positions like is the Kama Sutra really a thing at this day and age? Can't look at the screen. You already saw the first question.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's over here having me freestyle this thing.
Right, and you are so awesome at it.
Well, thank you.
So this is the last segment because I'm gonna have a whole nother set of questions for you next time. But I call this so. So these are things you cannot look at the screen.
Oh, okay, I can't look at it.
So you can't look at the screen. You've already seen the first question. That's fine, but you just got to answer without thinking about it.
Okay.
And I asked all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh.
So I think I gave you 6 questions because I felt like you could handle it. Okay. So question 1: if you were a Star Wars or Star Trek character, who would you be and why?
Chewbacca.
Interesting. Why Chewie?
Big, hairy, and can't nobody stop what he's doing.
True. Nobody can understand him other than Han, though.
But,
That you all right with that?
oh, that's all right.
Okay. He was the only one left.
But guess what?
Yeah.
But everybody knew he was loyal.
Yes. Very true. Very true. But he's so hairy though. Next question. What's the most useless talent that you have?
Most useless talent. I think one of my thumbs is double jointed.
That is not a talent, sir. I need a talent
Oh,
that is useless. I don't talk about useless body parts. I need a talent.
Oh, I need a talent. I don't know.
You gotta have something that you do that's not going. It's just completely useless, but you good at it.
No,
You got something.
No, I got.
I'm not gonna let you. You got.
My skills are usable. Let's see.
Oh, you just. I need you to cooperate. Useless talent. Can you
yeah.
yodel? I don't know.
Can I yodel? I'm trying to see something. I took square dancing.
That's a useless talent.
Right.
I bet you can do-si-do like a mug though.
Oh yeah, I had fun.
Okay, so that's a useless talent. You're not gonna,
I had to go through the Rolodex for that one.
Right, but that's a good one. Okay. So you can do-si-do like a mug. I ain't even mad at you. Promenade home.
Yep.
And swing your part to the left.
And walk your Cindy home. Get home with Cindy. Bow down. Wave to Cindy.
Bye, girl. Bye. All right. All right. Next question. What's the craziest thing that you've done? And I don't know how you define. You can define crazy however you want. Wow. Craziest thing you've done.
Wow. The craziest thing that I have done.
Legal.
No.
Okay.
No. I got legal, but I don't
want
to be that transparent.
It's still safe.
The craziest thing that I have done. I drank a fifth of Kettle One and cranberry juice in one night.
That's all you got?
Yep. That's all I'm gonna tell.
Well, okay. Like, is a mixture, or you just had a whole 7-8 mixed drinks in a night?
It's basically where I was. I was in an adults only hotel.
That's better. That's all you're gonna tell us though. That's all we're gonna get. Where would you go tomorrow morning if you had unlimited income?
I would be on my beachfront owned property in the Caribbean island somewhere.
Any particular island your favorite?
Until they were killing Americans, DR.
Okay. And is that your dream spot, or is that just your favorite that you visited?
It's not my dream spot. It's basically my dream spot: the palm trees, sand, and water. I just want the ocean.
Just wherever, as long as you get those three things.
Right.
I feel you on that. What does it mean to live a good life?
To live the life that is congruent, consistent with who you are as a person.
And being authentic in that life.
Exactly.
Excellent. Because you definitely, your whole story is that of being authentic and coming back to what you really wanted to do. And that's fascinating, and that takes a lot of courage, because so many people spend their whole lives never being their authentic self.
Right. It comes out of great cost. Comes out of cost.
It does, but then getting to that other side.
It's worth. I have no regrets. It's worth it.
Absolutely. And of course, my favorite question that everybody gets: if you could choose one song to play every time you walk into a room for the rest of your life. What?
Atomic Dog.
Yes, honey. If I could push play, I sure would. You still hot now?
Two knee replacements.
Oh, okay. So it's like more of a bounce and not like a full-on hop. But I bet your hook is mean. You got a mean hook, don't you? So tell us how we get in touch with you at Inner Peace.
Well, you can contact my office at 704-937-2286 or reach out to us at innerpeacecounseling.com.
Now, what about social media? Can they find you on Instagram, Facebook, all of that?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Okay. What's your handles?
Inner Peace CC.
And that's the at for all your social media?
Correct.
Okay. Are you on Twitter also?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was definitely eye-opening, but I'm so excited about the next segment of this, where we can dig deeper, like really dig deeper into some of the issues that people have raised, and I'm sure we'll get some more questions in the meantime. So
All
definitely, if you when you have a moment, definitely check out innerpeacecounseling.com. Absolutely check him out on social media, InnerPeaceCC.
Yes.
PEACE, letter C.
Right.
Okay, InnerPeaceCC on Instagram. And of course on Twitter, and then look for them on Facebook. The next show on the conversation will be about health and fitness. Summer body soon come, people. It is now March and summer's right around the corner, so it's going to be about health and fitness and a holistic approach to wellness. Our guest will be Rick Lewis, who is a personal trainer here in Charlotte. My trainer, he kills me. It's fine, but he is. We're going to talk about customized workouts. We're going to talk about the importance of eating and having real meal plans and really getting to some of the heart of the issues, because not all personal trainers are created equal. Ty, thank you again.
Thank you
again for joining us. Of course, if you haven't done so already, we are at the Convo Pie Show on all things social media. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Twitter. And of course, subscribe to us on the YouTube channel at The Conversation with Yolanda Trotman. We will see you soon. Have a good night.